I think from the beginning, it was great that many of the potential partners that were going to be interested in our business, it wasn't a cold call for you. It was a very warm phone call that you'd either done a transaction with them in the past or you knew what they were looking for and you thought that this may fit. I think that was from the beginning. And then knowing best practices in terms of how to package up the business and really show the selling highlights and doing it in a way that wasn't cookie cutter for every buyer, doing it in a way that was customized for certain acquirers and other acquirers, and understanding what the value drivers for them were going to be, what the hot buttons for them, and making sure we checked those boxes in the marketing materials. So that was the marketing phase. And then just being very disciplined and not being pushed around by a group of potential partners that said, we're interested, but we can't meet your deadline. Being very disciplined around, look, we have so much interest here that you really need to meet the deadline or else you're out. And ultimately, we got to see who was interested, truly interested, and who was just really kicking the tires. And I think that was really great for us, because at the end of the day, we're running a business. We don't have time to speak to people that are just kicking the can down the road. And that disciplined approach really helped weed out the serious buyers from the non-serious buyers. And then once we got to the first bid, you guys were great in terms of keeping us up to date with the conversations with the other parties, but also being able to read between the lines in terms of, are they logging into the data room? How much time are they spending? How many questions are they asking? Really having that intelligence to say, well, on paper, they're our highest bidder, but they're not doing as much work as some of these other interested parties. So that intelligence was very helpful. And then, once we got into exclusivity and got into negotiating the definitive agreement, really being that source for us to lean on in terms of, what's market for this certain term and condition. This is the way we would like to see the agreement or this particular, warranty, for example. But really having you as an advisor to be able to bounce our ideas off to say, are we crazy here? Because this is how we would think a partnership, should be structured. And it was a great yin and yang. It was a great back and forth. And ultimately, I believe the buyer and the buyer's counsel was appreciative of that, because it was obvious when we would go back with a turn of the document that we'd really thought through it and we had a really good rationale as to why we supported and really anchored down in our position.